What's going on? Welcome to, I almost call this podcast Shiny Happy Wrestling, and that's not the name of the podcast. That's the name of a great docuseries. This podcast is also great, and it's called Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling with me, Sean, and you, James, and you people.
Oh, yes, guys. The IBLP was performing. It was IBLPW, the Institute for Basic Living Professional Wrestling. Actually, yes. IBLPW does sound like a wrestling federation. We're talking about an Amazon documentary series that I have watched most of. Sean has not, and that's why Sean messed up. We were talking about it before we started recording.
And also, and what if they were clowns? The ICPIBLW? Just kidding. Juggalos would never have these fools around.
Yeah.
I'm turning into you. I didn't get enough sleep, and I'm turning into you.
Good. I wish everyone would turn into me. And turn up for what?
Dirt. I forgot the rest of that song, but I know there's a dirt in there. I can say with authority there's a dirt in that song.
Sean, I talked about it last week. We did do the donation stream for my wisdom teeth. It was a success, and I ate the entire chip. And the stream didn't go to all 6 hours. It went 4.5 because I had to throw up. That chip really destroyed my tummy.
I was lurking for a lot of that stream because I still had I had a lot of work to do at home. I work at a smoke shop, which sounds like a really fun time until you realize how much research you have to do on so many different branded vaporizers. There are so many different ways to consume nicotine and marijuana. It's insane. But
I just do it through my butt,
which is the safest way to do it. But I was lurking, and I think by the time I was like, okay, I have to start getting ready for work. I come back to the stream, and I have to see you're no longer alive, and I'm like, oh no. I hope everything is okay. As it turns out, best case scenario, all you had to do was throw up because you ate the whole chip because you did it, Daddy.
I did it. Thank you to everyone who donated. It was a wondrous time. And we got done with a beat for a Dragon Boy Suede song. And Steve...
I was listening to that. It sounds wild.
And Steve
It sounds so good.
Just in chat was like, oh yeah, R2 Shelby 2 should throw in some oh yes. And then Shelby sent me that, and they synced up so perfectly that I freaked out. I was like, this is amazing.
Let's go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I don't even want to talk about it. You should have been at the stream, and if you weren't at the stream, you gotta cop this one.
Yeah.
It sounds Chef Kissy style, real good.
So kissy. And I have one thing before we begin. It's podcast related. I already messaged you about this, but I would like everyone who listens to be wise to what happened. So I was watching BattleBots. I got done with this newest season. It's fantastic. Besides Riptide, fuck that person. Straight up Chud Lords right there. But I was watching BattleBots, and I said to, just out loud, Nicole was sitting next to me. I said, Beta used to be a chump-ass bot, but now it's dominating. And Nicole said, wow, that robot hates dogs? And I told that to Sean, and he just responded with, I've never sighed so hard in my life.
It hurts. It physically hurts me that this message of a terrible machine, if you're new to the podcast, we are a wrestling podcast.
Yes.
For the uninitiated as well as the initiated, going over Lucha Underground. And somewhere along the lines, we also became a product placement podcast for James' new invention, the Dominator, a horrific way, mentally not physically, to punish your dogs.
Yeah!
And it just won't go away. Even Nicole, who secretly is an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
Not that secret, actually.
No.
If it's a secret, it's a very poorly kept secret. We need to let this go. We have been sued multiple times canonically.
Just once, technically.
It was a big one, though, man.
For that, there have been lawsuits that I have not made you wise to because I, as the sole proprietor of Marshland Media, am the only one detailed in it. But Chavo is not happy with us. Is that why I kind of switched lanes a little bit? No. He does great
sense.
work on Young Rock. That's why.
All right, and I, of course, have never told you all the times I have flipped on you and handed over evidence to the DA regarding Dominator cases.
No.
Anyway, talking about this is a great episode of Lucha Underground. Oh my gosh. Season 1, 29, fight to the death. Initial thoughts before we even get started.
My first note is Black Lotus, Puma v. Hernandez, and Mill versus Fenix all in one thing?
This is a stacked card. At least 2 should be main events. I'm actually really surprised Puma and Hernandez don't have a main event. It makes sense. They don't have time tonight.
It was double headliners.
That just means... That means nothing.
Yeah, it does.
What does that mean?
It means, hey, we're doing 2 dope-ass things. It's like seeing Don't Stop or We'll Die and the Sloppy Boys. Those 2 can interchange. They're both headliners. They don't even need an opener.
That's fair and true, and it's why I do this podcast with you, James, a beautiful mind who has been unspoiled by the horrors of professional wrestling, where there have been in the past multiple times, like WCW had a very, oh yeah, we have multiple main events, and it's really like, no, you'd have no main event. You just have a lot of matches, and you contractually have to put one of them in the main event. There was a wrestler in WCW named The Demon, and he's the guy that used to wear Kiss makeup because Eric Bischoff signed a terrible deal with Kiss in 1998.
I know.
All right, and you know that part of the contract was that Kiss's proprietary wrestler, Dale Torborg the Demon, must appear in a main event. So they gave him the trashiest, it's a triple main event. Oh my gosh, every match is a main event. You see that hot dog guy? If you punch him hard enough, you'll be a main event too.
Quadruple main event. I like to quadruple main some hot dogs into my veins.
Well, of course I would. And after seeing your quote unquote double main event, yeah, I would too. They were both very good. They were both amazing matches.
You want to know the most surprising takeaway from this episode?
What was that?
Sexy Star and Pentagon had a match together and she won?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't remember which one, but we definitely talked about it.
That's insane. I was like, when are they gonna? Recently, I saw her on there. I was like, oh yeah, she needs to settle her feud with Pentagon Jr. And then to find out that we've already discussed this, I guess I'm like, wow, I don't remember that. It must have been one of those hey, it's a 3-minute match and we're in and out.
I mean, probably. Ooh, 'cause I don't remember how she won. I think it might have been roll up.
Yeah, that is how it was.
It was a sneak roll up? Okay. So, which also, doesn't necessarily end feuds. I hate you for breaking my best friend's arm. Quick roll-up, get out of the ring. It's like, aha. No, it's no, you gotta beat them to death.
A sneak roll-up is when you're eating a fruit roll-up and then all of a sudden it has vegetables in it.
Ew.
I ain't eating vegetables, guys. I'm a fruit man, okay?
Yeah, that's why you need your wisdom teeth out. Just kidding. They just grow that way sometimes.
Oh, I hate my body.
But I love it.
No,
and
you don't.
I love you.
You're going to say I love parts of it, weren't you?
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh no, James will have the only follow-up, which is which parts?
And I would have said your mind.
And cum gutters.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Moving on. That's so mean. But I meant it. It is morning, and we're at the temple front doors when Black Lotus is in this episode. And she's walking right in like she's gonna kill the brother of the man who owns this place.
Speaking of mourning, she should be mourning the loss of her parents. Clearly, she's so bent on revenge, she's never been able to grieve properly.
That's true. It's brutal, and that we know so little about that situation, it makes me want to know more. but Chavo is blocking my knowing of more. Probably for the best. We finally do get a little bit more information on this guy who's murdered her parents, and boy, we'll get there. We'll get there. But Chavo comes out of the front door, cuts her off. Dragon Azteca wants you protected. And she's all, I don't need protection. And he's all, well, fuck off. I'm going to protect you. Do it the right way. Do it in the ring. If you want revenge, do it in the ring. Which is like just very beautiful wrestling logic a little bit. That I think wrestling logic, not that you need to know wrestling, but that almost like superhero logic, you just need to buy in if you're watching that type of media. You know what I mean? There's Sentai logic too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's just like cartoon logic, certainly like, oh yeah, that's, of course, you have to do it in the ring. That's the only honorable way to get revenge for this man killing your parents.
Do it in the ring. That's the low budget way of making porno.
Now, why is that low budget in the ring?
Oh, because you're using your Ring camera in front of your house.
Okay.
And it's an easy upload. It just brings it all to the cloud, and then you can just transfer that over to Pornhub.
That makes a lot more sense. I was afraid you were taping over VHS copies of The Ring. Like, you just got this movie there, you're told, like, don't watch it in 7 days or you'll die. And you're like, well, whatever. I'm just going to film a porn on it.
Yeah.
I'm not even watching. I'll take the tape. I'm not even watching it. I just need some spare VHSs.
Actually,
for all the porn I'm doing.
Whoever's giving me that tape, I'm glad I'm filming over it and not watching it because they were trying to pass the virus off to me to save themselves. So I'm glad my friend who tried screwing me over will be dead in a few days.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're out here saving the world with porn. During this exchange, Chavo tries to appeal to her in a relatable way, revealing that his grandfather was there the day Dario's brother killed Lotus's parents. Just, like, watching, I guess? I'm very curious about this. Either, because he doesn't mention that his grandfather was killed in that attack. Mm-hmm. Just that he was there.
Maybe like, oh, I'm hiding, or this thing will kill me, or maybe he got knocked out, so he was technically there.
Which could very well be true. Like, it's everything we've gotten about this attack feels like literally a monster coming to a village.
Or maybe he was riding the monster and, kind of controlling it, saying, yeehaw, yeehaw.
Which could also be true because the Guerreros are notoriously villains.
And horseback riders.
I wouldn't put this past Chavo because he's amazing and terrible. Could have just been lying.
Oh, yeah.
Just like saying anything to like get her to do what he wants her to do, which is do it in the ring, do it in a wrestling match.
I thought you were going to say, hey, I wouldn't put it past Chavo. He is his grandfather.
I think Chavo is the missing stupid from the Tom Arnold seminal classic, The Stupids, and he is his own grandpa. Los Rayobacks play us to the desk as the boys set us up for some shit. Puma versus Hernandez, which Vampiro mimes a big flex for. Plus Mill versus Fenix, who's gonna more, that's not a sentence. Hold on, I wrote notes and I don't know if I can read them.
Just skip over it.
Who's gonna more than 1,000 lucky lives to overcome the man of 1,000 deaths? It's gonna be brutal.
And this is how you know the episode will be stacked, packed full of action. Vampiro is just serious. He's not doing his little goofs. He's just like, hey, we're here to commentate. And I will say, early on, we had issues with mainly Stryker and being like a little, but not behind the times when it comes to commentary. I think the two of them have been doing so fucking well lately.
And I should always say, as the resident longtime wrestling fan, that Matt Stryker is behind the times for human beings. For wrestling personalities, especially wrestling commentators, he's just about where the times are.
Yes, and if we're in Canada, he would be technically 10 years ahead of the times. of wrestling.
Canada wrestling actually I think might be more advanced than American wrestling. It's the one thing they are not 10 years behind the time on.
Okay, well, we've
is
had this
professional
conversation before, Sean, and we both agreed that they're currently doing 9/11 themed wrestling matches in Canada because they are 20 years behind the times.
Yes, but they treat their women much better.
And they're talking about Survivor so much. Like, Survivor series is just about the TV show Survivor, co-produced by the man who produces this show.
Which is still so strange, but good for him, I guess. And we go to our first match of the night, Aerostar versus Johnny Mundo. Mixed feelings? What is this?
Aerostar is an American gladiator now? Because that's what he's dressed up like.
Ooh, he is very red and blue with white trimmings. So they were white trimmings. The trimmings were white.
Well, he looks like he's in shoulder pads and all of that, like a gladiator would be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's always got the full matching gear, which Aerostar is very fun to look at, both like in-ring physicality and the clothes on his back. And
Sean, if I were to show you these two and asked you who's who, hey, which one's Johnny Mundo and which one's Aerostar, you would know without knowing who these people are, right?
You're referring to, of course, Matt Stryker in the beginning of the match clarifying Aerostar on the left, Johnny Mundo on the right.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the thing. I don't think that I would.
I can go ask Nicole right now.
You can guess. And I think it's fair to guess. But I don't think I would come out the gate just being like, because Johnny Mundo is not the realest of names either. Johnny Mundo, of course, not wearing a mask, unmasked. And the fact that he has a first and last name might indicate he's not maybe a masked wrestler who has a masked identity like Aerostar. But like, again, Johnny Mundo is not like a real name either. I could see a Johnny Mundo under a mask, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You can ask Nicole. I don't give a shit. A reminder, of course, that Aerostar did not win his best of 5 series against Drago, and as punishment, is still under contract with Lucha Underground. Great show, terrible contracts. It's a fun match, though. This is Johnny Mundo's first match, now being a bit of a villain. After betraying Alberto, boo. Who am I booing? You'll never know. And sort of turning his back on many of the faithful, focusing on himself from now on. He's got different attitude, and his style shifts ever so slightly. We see a lot more ground and pound in set up to just like fucking big ass Johnny Mundo moves. Up top, Johnny throws Arrow down with authority, keeps him backed up with a threatening roundhouse kick, and hammer and anvil elbows, real Bryan Danielson style. And then boots on the ground. Just a lot of stomping the boy out. We see Arrow hits his above the top ropes, 619, springboard splash, 2 count. Johnny catches Arrow on the apron, stomps him into the mat again, like kicks him in the gut, and then just stomps him until he's on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something?
Please.
We forgot to mention that Johnny Mundo shatters glass ceilings for all, and all glass ceilings.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Oh, Stryker's saying, yeah, he came in here and I think like getting crazy and wild. He was too nice. That is, sorry for the metaphor, that is his glass ceiling. But he's here and with this added attitude, he's going to shatter those glass ceilings and truly be the champion he knows he should be. That is
so many words I have no memory at all of hearing.
Yeah. He was like, oh, sorry, ladies out there, that I'm going to be referencing the glass ceiling.
Thankfully, Aerostar, by the way, is phenomenal. We've talked about how much we've enjoyed his best of 5 series with Drago. And just overall, he's brilliant to watch in the ring. Mm-hmm. And I've gone on record. I think Johnny Mundo might be one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
like ever. So I was just too busy enjoying this match to listen to That's so gross. A very gross thing that, who said that? Stryker. Please say it was Stryker. Thank God. Yeah, fuck you, Matt Stryker. Good God.
I don't think Vampiro knows what the glass ceiling is.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. Or he's just too burnt out. Again, he's doing double commentary for every show.
Also, I guess Johnny Mundo comes in with a black eye, and I'm assuming it's black eye makeup. And I would love, next time you're on set, you come in with like someone did up your eye to make it look like you have a black eye and just be like, I'm an extra with a black eye.
I walk in. All right, what was your name? I'm an extra with a black eye. All right, and what do you want for lunch? We're taking lunch orders now. Well, I'm an extra with a black eye. I assume that's the only thing I say all day.
You say, well, I might need a frozen bag of peas, referring to my shiner.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no peas in this match. It's all war, baby. It's a fun match. Overall, it's the story of Aerostar's momentum not being able to overcome Johnny's pressure, which is coming from some of this new attitude now. Like, they both have high-flying moves, but Johnny's adding a lot of ground and pound, some just really aggressive slams. Oh my gosh. The match ends with a tilt-a-whirl Northern Lights suplex, which is just like a beautiful pick you up, spin you around, put you back down, then flip you over into a suplex. That sets up the fin de mundo. That's the Johnny W at 6 minutes and 36 seconds.
And this match holds a 7 on Cage match.
But I think it's fair. It's a good opening match.
Oh, I thought it was out of 5, so that's why I said 7.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. It is out of 10.
Dang
but
it.
It's still a very good match.
All right, it's a 3.5. I mean, a 13.5.
Yeah, it's a great match. It's weird. It's a great opener in that it's very it's fast paced. It's performed beautifully. It's a simple story, but it's also Johnny's first match as a heel. You kind of want to keep that pretty simple. Mm-hmm. You know, we're introducing this new concept for Johnny, who has been, I feel like, one of the major baby faces, probably the most famous, the biggest name at time of recording, at least in America, you know, when they first were going on the air before they had a product.
Blue Demon Jr.?
Yeah, I think I don't think you knew who Blue Demon Jr. was before we started this podcast.
I sure did, because I had to look up, hey, what's this mask of Diablo Azul from Los Luchadores?
As for true.
Also,
Los Luchadores.
I have seen Santos movies and have looked at the filmography of the man, and there is one where Blue Demon non-junior, senior, I believe, is double booked with him.
I can see that. Okay, that makes... All right, well, that's true.
You're like, but not everyone was watching Mystery Science Theater and then grew up wanting to find out more about the films.
No, they all did. Yeah. No, you're right. Johnny was the second most.
Everyone had to have been watching it. It got like 9 or 10 seasons.
They kept getting all those letters every episode.
Yeah.
It's a good setup, and it makes sense for a first match also because it has to be simple to sort of set up this Johnny turn. It makes it very accessible. I think it's the most accessible match of the night.
Yeah, speaking of the demon, Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
All right, well then let's move on to the Vampiro sit down this week with Sexy Star. And then the music comes in. Vampiro wants to know, she's all wrapped up with Pentagon Jr. Why didn't you just let him break Superfly's arm? Why didn't you just watch your friend be broken and battered? Sexy Star wants him to know, Penta's a bully, and I'm not afraid of him, and assume the consequences. I realized, so Sexy's answering in Spanish, Vampiro is asking in English, as well as in Spanish, but we watched the English version. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was him asking questions in English, her answering in Spanish.
And in the Spanish version, he's asking in Spanish and she is responding in Pig Latin.
We can only assume, but yes. So for her to answer one question with, I'm not afraid of him, and assume the consequences, for Vampiro's next question to be, aren't you afraid of what Pentagon will do to you? I might have written that down wrong, but it's a lot of the Pentagon story that she's again standing up to bullies mostly. I think that's what this comes around to. Penta is a psychopath, right? He's doing sacrifice arm bars to like seemingly omniscious master of some kind, and Sexy's just treating him like any other bully. It's like he's religious fanatic crazy, but he's still just a bully. And I ain't gonna stand for that.
So this is 2015. So like the bullying thing was starting to become on the rise of like, hey, we should like hamper this down. However, 2023, have you watched any Ted Lasso?
I have not.
Okay, well, it's a very nice show. It's sweet, kind, all of that. And the first 2 seasons are good television. This 3rd season is straight up trash. It's insane how bad it is. But there's an episode where they get a call because Ted Lasso's in England and his family's in the United States of Freedom.
USA.
No, USF. Okay. United States of Freedom.
Federation? Oh, yeah, that's what I like to hear. Shove a ball rocket up my ass, let them know I'm alive.
So gets a call saying like, oh, there was an altercation at school and you need a call. And they're like, oh, yeah, he was getting bullied, this and that. And they're like, oh, no, like it's taken so seriously that it's like, oh, he's getting bullied. No. And just to find out, like I called it, I was like, he's the one doing the bullying, I bet. And yeah, that's what it is. But the fact that everyone's taking this so seriously that when I was a child, the concept of if you get bullied, it's either, well, you're being a bitch, so obviously that's why, or you need to smack him in the mouth. That's how you get rid of a bully. That it was so comically trashy that this season sucks so hard, but it's a train wreck that you can't look away from.
Yeah, unless you have not started watching, in which case I got some paint drying over here that's pretty cool to look at.
No, watch pornography. Come on.
Hold on. This one piece is really gonna try.
Oh, man.
Damn.
At least watch it through a Ring camera.
Oh, that is true.
Like our pornography.
Hold on, I'm watching through my Ring camera, and a girl is crawling out of my paint drying.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Is it Tinker Smell? Ooh, smell her sweaty feet.
Is that a real... No, hold on. Because we took your Ring thing, and then we added my Ring thing, and now Tinker Smell is here.
Yeah.
And I don't know where she came from. I don't know if she has bus fare to get home.
Oh, she doesn't need bus fare. She just needs good thoughts and vibrations, and she can fly wherever she wants.
Okay, she's not staying here.
Yeah.
As long as she knows, she is not staying here.
What other small person would be coming out of a paint chip? Tinkerbell, that's it.
Or the Ring girl, whom I was clearly referencing.
She's not tiny, you idiot.
So this interview's
And she comes from a well. It's wet, not drying.
So
her face gets all pulled back because she's been down there so long and the lady caresses her skein.
So this interview is fine. I think the best part of it is towards the end when Vampiro asks her to describe winning that match with Pentagon Jr., which we both forgot, that she cannot describe the feeling. She's been playing it over and over in her head, reliving the satisfaction. And what's important, quote, what's important is if I inspire a woman, a young girl, to stand up to someone and scream, I'm not afraid, my job will be done. Which, all corny hokiness aside, that's a very wholesome message.
Bobby Hill does more for women than Sexy Star, okay?
Well, that wasn't his purse, and he didn't know you.
Yes, you knew exactly what I was referencing. Oh, but when I bring up Tinkerbell, you're like, oh, what?
Okay, you also did not bring up Tinkerbell. You brought in an off-brand, copyright not protected version of Tinkerbell known as Tinker Smell.
Well, no, because I'd like to smell her sweaty feet. You know she's dirty and filthy. She comes from the land of never, aka never heard of a bath.
Oh, man. Well, I would bathe to this match. The Lucha Underground Championship is on the line. Hernandez challenges the champion, Prince Puma, with Conan in his corner. What a match. What a match. I don't know. I can't just say. James, what do you think of this match before we get deep?
I loved it. CM Punk had done it with Jeff Hardy of like impersonating Jeff Hardy. How Puma is showboating like Hernandez does was so fucking funny.
It's so great. And he does it after a triple backflip, which I don't think Hernandez can necessarily do.
What are you talking about?
It's one of those things that only Prince Puma, aka Rick, or also known as Ricochet, aka was right.
Hey, if I saw one of my close colleagues, one of my affiliates, or run over a child, better believe I will be doing 3 backflips to get out of there.
That's for true. Eddie Kingston's not here yet. Don't worry, children. You are safe to play in the streets. Just kidding. Play on the sidewalk or in the yard. And of course, Hernandez betraying Prince Puma and his friend Conan, who Conan brought Hernandez into Lucha Underground, said, hey, we can all be friends. And then Hernandez is like, sure, but I don't fucking respect Prince Puma, and I will tell him multiple times to his face how little I respect him. And eventually Hernandez racked up the wins. He did earn an opportunity just through maybe some nefarious means. Mm-hmm. And Hernandez, big boy that he is, will not intimidate Prince Puma. He will not back down, and is back and forth real early.
I'm glad he got it through nefarious means and not Nosferatu means.
Oh my gosh, I could not imagine if it was Nosferatu memes.
He's just creeping in shadows, making himself elongate as just a mystic dark orb.
And maybe there is a door so that sometimes he'll have to squeeze his body down to the size of a dime to slip under.
Oh, he's Tinker Smell style.
80 way.
Oh, we forgot to mention Vampiro in the first match was like, all right, let me tell you, brother. Man, I say brother a lot. There's a drinking game out of it. Brother.
He's brothered out of his mind. This dude is brothered out of his mind.
If you were to see 3 episodes and then quickly jump cut to Vampiro's thoughts on Johnny Mundo now, you'd be like, oh, this is like a new season and whatnot. And you're like, no, he just turned heel, so Vampiro's on his side.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's great, and we're happy to see him. Just as we're happy to see Puma basement dropkick, single leg kick to the outside, run for the dive, and triple backflip Hernandez style strut. Like, that's what it's so fun to see him stealing Hernandez's sort of taunt stealing him, but doing it after a very Prince Puma move.
Does Kirby do that when he sucks someone up in any of Super Smash Brothers?
Does he like taunt steal?
Yeah.
He should. Here's the thing, we could go off on a tangent and have some real fun ha-has about this, but like that's actually a very good game design point. It would be really cool if you could taunt steal, if you could do a show me your moves as Kirby.
Yeah.
But like it's a little bit more time for the voice actor, but a little bit of the poyo poyo poyo, which is how you say show me your moves in Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Sakurai? Who's the game director for the Smash Brothers series?
Subaraya. I'm kidding. That's Ultraman.
Oh, damn. Okay. Get on it, though.
Hideo Kojima's Super Smash Brothers.
No. The world is not ready. Just as Hernandez is not ready for Puma. It's back and forth, but yes.
Real quick. I sent 2 pictures to Nicole, and she accurately was able to list who is Aerostar and who is Johnny Mundo.
I could be wrong. It's one of those things. Ask her how confident she felt in that.
She threw her phone away after. She's like, I don't need this anymore. That's how confident I am.
You know what? It's one of the many things I respect about Nicole.
So if you want to ask her, you're going to have to come over here with a digital recorder and put it in her face and say, hey, what's up?
Right. But instead, I'm going to keep going on through this match.
Please.
But it's a lot of Puma countering Hernandez. It's back and forth, but it's very hard for Hernandez to get one over on Puma with his countering and then his just overwhelming fury of Ricochet moves. He's very good. But Puma makes a mistake, finally, not targeting the big man's legs while standing. So Hernandez gets to deliver a clothesline. And Conan does not whisper, let him blow himself up. He's got no conditioning. Which felt so rude. like even a little bit of like, hey man, that's like a little too real. I don't know, man. Because there is something to especially bigger wrestlers not having the most conditioning, the most cardio, I guess you could say. It was just so obnoxiously rude of like, he felt like, and Hernandez finally did something like offensive in this match. He must be feeling proud for a moment. And there's Conan, who thinks he's whispering, but he is not whispering. Let him blow himself up. He's got no conditioning.
Hey, man, Conan's a cheerleader, okay?
Unless you're Hernandez, then he's kind of a bully.
Well, that's what cheerleaders do to the opposing side. They're trying to rally up their troops and take down the others.
They're trying to heat him up while Hernandez gets his heat segment on, baby. Stinger splash, big boy senton, overhead throw by the neck, which was beautiful. Just beeling someone over the top, but just with two hands around the throat. Oh, I love it. And a torture rack. Puma gets his shine cut off when his crossbody is caught, then thrown into a power bomb, 2 3/4. Puma gets bullied out of the ring. I can't describe it any more than just getting bullied out, Mario 64 style.
He got bullied. Oh no. How is he feeling, that Puma? He must be so sad. That's what Ted Lasso is.
Yeah. And that's when Conan gets on the apron to tell referee Rick Knox, but also to distract referee Rick Knox while Puma grabs a chair and holds it for a suicide diving Hernandez to go head first into. I loved that.
Vampiro was right all along. Conan taints.
He has a bad influence on Prince Puma, but it looks so good.
No.
Puma follows with a Sasuke special of his own. Like, see, he's not using the chair to win. He's just using the chair to hit Hernandez with. Whatever. I don't care. I love it. Sasuke is special to the but now Hernandez has Puma on the outside, and Border tosses him onto the edge of the ring.
I hate that they do this.
This move, these edge of the aprons?
Yeah, it just seems too violent, and I don't know how padded those sides are, but it just seems like there's a lot of margin for error.
I will say it has been done long enough that it's been proven safe is a very subjective word in a business like this, in a performance like this. But that I've seen enough of these that could it go wrong? Everything can go wrong. Like the worst things are the not big spots because you don't protect yourself as much. But I would like to assure you and any watchers, it does look very brutal. It is comparatively safe.
As this is also coming from someone who has had shoulder blade nerve pain since I was in like 3rd grade, just constantly there. Just the idea of someone punching my back slightly in that area makes me want to curl up in a ball.
Yeah.
Go armadillo style.
Hell yeah, daddy. What a specific reference to my life. Puma manages to escape a second border toss, then escape a pop-up powerbomb when Hernandez, the pop-up powerbomb, by the way, is it's when they're running, they just throw them straight into the air. Hernandez overcorrects manages to pop Puma up a little too hard as Puma leaps over his head, lands on the raised barricade. Fenix senton off of the barricade like, whoa.
So good.
So good. Rolls Hernandez back into the ring. Springboard 450 with the Rob Van Dam 5-star cell where like you bounce a little too far after and you're like, whoa, I bounced so far. Runs back over, gets the cover. 1, 2.5.
No.
Not enough. Puma calls for the 630, flies, but Hernandez leaves the pool empty. Hernandez manages, I don't know what this move was, gut wrench, torture rack, Samoan drop? It's this insane move. It's a beautiful big man power slam. Just all face for Puma. Hernandez goes for the cover. 1, 2.75. This is like great third act shit right here. They're just like running on angry fumes. And it's just big move after big move after big move. Eventually, Puma gets a beautiful axe kick, which you don't see a lot of axe kicks in wrestling. But like, so every time you do, you're like, nice. I haven't seen you since the last axe kick, and it's been too long. Please come in, have some tea.
But you do see a lot of ass kisses, am I right?
Oh my gosh, and I'm fucking sick of it. I'm sick of all these ass kisses out there getting their just desserts. How about some just dancers?
All these backstage politickings, ass kissings, more like it.
Sick of it. What I'm not sick of, though, is Puma on the top rope fighting off Hernandez with full-on roundhouse kicks. Two of them. And I'm just like, what? That's beautiful. Patrick Swayze, my God. The second roundhouse kick just knocks Hernandez on his ass. 6:30 splash, wins Puma the match. 12 minutes, 46 seconds.
Hell yeah. Real quick correction. Patrick Swayze does roadhouse kicks, not roundhouse kicks.
Oh, this is true. There were some peanuts shells I noticed on the ground, though, and a delicious pair of rolls.
Okay, all right.
So they might have also been roadhouse kicks. Great match. Long match for Lucha Underground, but beautiful match.
We forgot a couple things. When Hernandez initially started taking back control, Vampiro and Matt Stryker were criticizing like, oh, when you are taking down something so big like a tree, yeah, you can go for the head, but you got to cut it off at the knees. And then Stryker was like, well, or maybe it was Vampiro goes, well, like trees don't have heads, so the analogy doesn't really clock.
No, that's true. It's a good point. And Matt Stryker should feel bad. Even though that was correct. That was the Hernandez clothesline early on. That Conan, again, I cannot get over how audibly he disrespected this man and his cardio.
And Stryker's like, oh yeah, you notice how Conan is always staying so close and speaking constantly to Puma in the ring. And then Vampiro's like, yeah, he's always close to him, especially on payday.
Yeah, Conan, you're untrustable.
And I'm upset that he cheated, but I'm glad he won.
Yeah, Puma, he's learning. He's learning. And the problem, the crowd ate it the fuck up too. So he's getting that. He's getting poor encouragement on both sides. But you wanted some violence, Daddy. We got one more match tonight. Fenix versus Muertes death match. Mil accompanied to the ring with Katrina and goons. We discussed this. These are the goons you did not notice last time we watched an episode. Mm-hmm. They were there the whole time, though. They give them a couple of names: Death Disciples, Faces of Death. They're goons. They are goons until I am specifically told otherwise.
We haven't seen Mill in like 2 months of the show around that amount of time, and this dude must have been in hell just pumping brimstone because he looks yoked more than ever.
He is huge. The last time we saw Mill was against Fenix in a casket match, back when Katrina was, I guess the whole thing was lulling Fenix into a false sense of security for a long ass time, because it was the whole I'm leaving Mill for you, I love you, and then he wins the match, and then he's not on TV for a long time, and then Katrina comes back and she's like, fuck you, I did all this so that you would win and not be on TV for a long time, so that Mill could recuperate and eat your soul.
Yeah.
And Fenix knows this. He knows he's in danger, and immediately suicided dives to Mill on the outside, who does not move. He barely shrugs, and Fenix is like, shit. Runs to do another one, caught by an elbow across the jaw, like blam. And Mill beats the shit out of Fenix for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's really early on when Mill first gets into the ring. He looks towards commentary, and then Vam's like, What are you looking at me for, Mill?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's because it's my favorite thing I've ever heard is that, power slam, spiral choke slam. Don't look at Vampiro. You have wrestlers, you have one rule. Do not look at Vampiro. He's skittish, he is tired, he is doing commentary twice, as well as the interview segments backstage twice, both in Spanish and in English, and he has to work with Matt Stryker, who has some questionable views about the glass ceiling. Wrestlers, do not look at Vampiro. Thank you for listening.
But not for looking.
Ooh, do not look at Vampiro.
I thought it was so funny, him just being all scared that a
What are you
demon is
looking
staring
at me for?
him. Yeah.
It's very good. There's also, I love this exchange. Matt Stryker says, as the faces of death look over Katrina's shoulder, Mil Muertes. And Vampiro kicks in, brother, he just tore a tree out of the ground and replanted it. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Eventually, Fenix finally catches Mil while Mil is on the top rope. Enziguri to get him stunned. Climbs the other turnbuckle. Tightrope walk. Super kick. Mil to the floor. I love this. I love the Fenix tightrope walks.
Me too.
Yeah, they look real good. And I don't think anyone does them like him.
I hear Fenix is in talks to be the next Robin in the DCU.
Oh, that's good. Because I heard he was in talks to be the next Man on a Wire. And I think he could do a lot more with Robin than a French acrobat.
Yeah.
Though, actually, I take it back. I want to see Fenix in a live musical adaptation of Man on a Wire. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Man on a Ledge. Remember that movie?
Wait, no, I don't remember that one.
I had like Elizabeth Banks and it was just a man on a ledge saying, I know stuff, guys, and they're trying to kill me. I don't want to kill myself, but they're coming. And then they're like, tell us what you know. And he's like, I don't know if I can trust you.
Oh, that sounds like a very frustrating movie to watch for an hour and a half.
Let me pull this up.
But let me talk about how Fenix dances among the ropes to springboard moonsault to the outside, onto Mil, and a poor cameraman. Everyone gets wiped out. But as Fenix rises, Mil catches a boot, pulls him in, lariat, get yourself a chair, Mil, and cave in Fenix's head with a chair. It is a mean unprotected headshot. It just looks gross.
Real quick.
Yes.
I don't need to look at or say anything about Man on the Ledge. I just said the synopsis of it.
That's the entire...
Yeah.
Because it sounds... And it's hard to describe a movie without seeing it just based on that description. But it sounds like it would be so frustrating of just no plot being moved forward, only obstacle. Like when a movie's just obstacle, no plot... that's frustrating to me. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the police detective or interrogator, no, the not hostage, someone talking them off a ledge, whatever those are called.
Hostage negotiators.
Okay. So yeah. Elizabeth Banks, as he's talking, is starting to realize like, oh, there could be something more behind this. So we're seeing also the behind the scenes of her trying to figure out what's going on, and the politicians and people who he has information on are getting worried and are like, just let him fall.
I guess, but it depends how they do it, because there's a way that could work. There's also a way where that is all like background information and world building, which also isn't moving the plot necessarily forward.
All right, guys, you heard it here, because this is a movie that did not succeed. I guess for maybe August, this existed, Man on a Ledge.
We'll find out in August. Meanwhile, there is a match going on. It is very mean. Mil and Fenix are bouncing each other's heads off the raised barricade. Watch those reverberations. Woofa. While Katrina leads the goons in a procession counterclockwise to the ring. It's very important we know it's counterclockwise. But also it's not like they're just walking and moving. It is a single file line. Very odd. Very disconcerting. Processions are creepy. As a youth, I attended Catholic school and would attend Catholic church and would participate in processions, and they were fucking creepy.
Creepy on my pee-pee.
They were creepy a heck on my pee-pee. Fenix eventually after they're bouncing each other's heads off of it, climbs the raised barricade, double stomp, close up on Mill, who appears to be gasping through his eyes. Ugh. I loved his face in this cell. It was like, it was awestruck. And it put over like as much as Bill is kicking Phoenix's ass, Phoenix just kind of comes out of nowhere and does some crazy shit. And he can do that at any time.
Speaking of his eyes, he has colored contacts in to be white. When we were in Minnesota a couple weeks ago, Brooke and Bridget, their siblings, Bridget had black colored contacts that Brooke was like, hey, can I get those? And said, what area of the eye is black? And I just go, the pupil area. And man, did that get a big old laugh from everyone.
Let him know.
Because it's black. Like, that's what a pupil is.
It was a scientifically correct and clever bit you did. Well done. Back in the ring. It was a very good joke. I'm worried about time because I started late. I apologize.
Keep going.
Guys, make sure you let James know how good that joke was. Write it in, you cowards. Back in the ring, Mill arm drags Phoenix back out. The second they get in the ring, Mill's like, nope. Arm drags back out of the ring, follows Phoenix with a crossbody from the top rope to the outside. That's Mil Muertes, flying through the sky like he does not weigh the amount a Mil Muertes weighs.
He weighs a mil, guys.
That was insane. Crossbody from the top of the rope to the outside. Mil is just fucking going crazy. Firemen carry Phoenix up onto his shoulders, all the way up the ramp / stairs to the roof above the announce table. Power bomb through the roof. Mil Muertes, I'm going to say that again with a little less gusto. Mil Muertes power bombs Phoenix through the roof. I tried to say it with less gusto and I just couldn't do it. James, your boy, your precious Mil Muertes, has powerbombed the beloved Animo, Phoenix, through the goddamn roof.
Yeah, so when I was watching this and he was going up, I was like, oh, wonder what he's going to do. And I was like, oh, he's probably going to like powerbomb him through that roof. And if someone was around me, they'd be like, wait, what roof? I'd be like, the one with a spotlight on it showing him where to powerbomb.
All right. I mean...
And it's done very well to be like, hey,
done beautifully, yeah.
There's a door down there that we can't open up, and that gives them enough time to take out and remove all of the padding that they would have had to have in there, or just the crazy amount of stuntman boxes that would have been in there to cushion his fall.
However they did that, yeah.
And then, like, once it's finally broken open by the faces of death, he looks like he's just on pavement.
It's so mean. And that's the commercial break, is referee Marty Elias not being able to open the door, calling for help. They come back from commercial break, he's still struggling, so the goons kick it in, and they do I don't know what that kind of carry is called. Like, just where they put him like almost like they were pallbearers.
Yeah.
But without a casket, they're just carrying this corpse, feeding it into the ring.
It's kind of like if just 3 people were a crowd and you were crowd surfing.
Yes, exactly that. But also they're wearing skull masks, and they just got done processioning around the ring.
You've never been to the concerts I've been to. That's what people wear.
As for true, come to the ICP's gonna be... I'm dying. ICP's gonna be at Riot Fest. I might die before I make it, but make sure you go.
I was going to say, Sean, just give up on the bit. You coughed too hard.
I coughed too hard and not hard enough. With a goozle and some hard eye contact, Mill flatlines Phoenix for the win, 9 minutes, 13 seconds.
Oh, so good, but you forgot a very big thing. I think Phoenix jumps off the top rope to hit Mill and hits a cameraman. The cameraman falls right over.
Oh, yeah, no, I mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's it was the early on moonsault to the outside.
Okay, it was real cool.
It was great. Yeah, and of course that's the shot they're using as he's flying. So as soon as it lands, the camera, the shot just starts tumbling, and we're all like, what's happening? And it's the poor cameraman who is on his butt, much like Fenix is at the end of this match, which afterwards Katrina crawls over Fenix to finally lick of death this former lover boy, raise the Earthstone as perhaps 1,000 deaths are coming for us all.
Yeah, and Mill is victorious. Fade to black, but fade in. Can I explain this last bit?
I would love for you to.
Okay, so Dario Cueto, or Dario Cueto if you're Sean.
Hey, that Dario Cueto. Go
he's
Bills.
hanging out in the prison room that he's keeping his brother in, and he's talking to the crew, and he's like, hey, you failed me, and I told you someone needs to be sacrificed. You three have to choose which one of you it will be. Sounds like, oh, you want to know what? They're going to have a match next week, and they're going to just beat the shit out of this single person. That's going to be a pretty good match. Maybe they'll turn babyface because someone will like come rescue them. Maybe it'll be a sexy star saying, you guys are bullying this, I guess, former bully, but you still shouldn't be doing this.
Interesting. This is my spotlight on the roof moment where like I was very excited for it, but I did not think this was going to be a match.
Okay, well, there's no way you could have seen where it was going because
I didn't see it go. I mean, they've been setting this up for weeks.
Well, I think I would have never thought they would have done it how they did it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
Two of them, who do they end up grabbing?
So they're looking at each other. They don't say anything. They kind of look around for a second, and then very quickly, Castro and Cisco look at poor Bale.
And they grab him by the arms. And then
who
Dario
was not in the first episode. Bale was the guy that came in later to join the crew. It's big cousin from Out of Town energy.
Yeah.
In this moment.
And Dario said they grab him and he says, put his head in the bars. And I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. All right. He's being sacrificed and it's going to be like some spiritual strobe lights and he's going to like absorb his soul. Oh my God. No, he's eating this man's head and fake blood is spraying literally everywhere, just splattering in the faces. This is almost Evil Dead comical level of blood style.
I mean, almost, but it's not. It's grotesque. It's definitely. I wouldn't say. I don't know if I would say Evil Dead. I think I might go with. I would definitely go with the B horror film.
Yeah.
It's very like because it's not. It's just over the top enough to like sort of border on grotesque and comical. Where it was disturbing. Like whatever they got some great blood for it. They used real clever shots of just the crew holding their former member to this cage while blood splatters them, and it's a lot. If you were a kid, this would be terrifying. If you were super zooted late at night, this would be terrifying.
Do you think he'll come back as like a zombie for this monster or something?
I don't think he has a head anymore. Is the problem.
Maybe he was just biting the top of the head and sucking out the brains. Or maybe he'll just come back as a luchador and everyone will be like, well, we know this is Bale, but it's a different, in quotes, character.
Maybe. For two reasons, I hope not. One, I like how much finality. And I wouldn't be super mad because, again, wrestling logic has some superhero logic. People can come back. But this felt so final and the moment was so poignant that I think having him off TV for at least a very long while is powerful. And B, it means he's no longer under Lucha Underground contracts. Yeah! Which again, great show, terrible contracts.
I mean, they could have had him sign like a 3-year deal and they're like, okay, well, if we need you to come back in a luchador mask, we'll let you know.
No.
Sean, I just found out
gross. Yeah.
In the back of this composition book.
Yeah.
There's a ruler back here, which means I can measure my penis using this.
That's wonderful. I do have one last thing to say about that segment, which you covered beautifully, much like you would cover that ruler with your penis.
Not all of the rulers. It's 8 inches, and I'm not quite there because I'm not a freak of nature.
That's a good amount of ruler. I'm proud of you. Right after, so they're holding their friend, and I guess friend. I don't think they explicitly say they're family. But I go by Dominic Toretto rules. If you roll together, you family. If you eat here, you family. If you don't hold my head to a cage where a monster will eat my face, you family. And of course, and Dario says, do you understand? And they're like, yes, boss. But like, in a way, they're kind of into it. Like, they definitely just murdered their friend. The crew went from 3 to 2. But they're like, it's their kink, I suppose. Mm-hmm. The temple's fucking wild out here.
That new dude's gonna be in the crew now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine. The crew's kind of fucking kinky, and I think it's not the character progression I expected at the end of the segment.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of like yes, daddy energy after they murdered their friend to this monster.
How about ooh, daddy energy?
Well, you know what that gives me some ooh daddy energy? Motherfucking plugs, bitch. Was that too aggressive?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. You can watch me apologize over at twitch.tv/GooseVonKaiser. You can also come over to YouTube. I don't have a lot, but I do have the Inscription series I just played through over on Goose Von Kaiser or YouTube as well. And again, I'm sorry. I got real excited for these plugs. I can only apologize. James, take it away.
Hey guys, twitch.tv/mostly speaking Sentai. I will be streaming every single day in June, and I'm making Twitch clips throughout. I got my video editing game on lock now that it's easy to make take a Twitch video and turn it into a TikTok vertical video. That was the biggest issue. And you want to know what? TikTok and Facebook Reels are really the only thing that get listens and views, so you gotta get on that vertical game.
Yeah, I just got on YouTube and it is too late. Get on TikTok.
Yeah, guys. And you should, what should you do? Head over to mlmpod.com to find out information about my other podcasts. They're all great. Mostly Speaking Sentai, Hit It and Crit It, The Height of Horror, Formulaic, Sweet Child of Time, and more. Check them, bitch. And then patreon.com/mlmpod, where for $5 a month you get exclusive content every single Friday. This week is a Mostly Speaking Sentai After Dark, where Nicole and I are almost done with season 1 of Akiba Ranger, so get on that. You can binge listen to so much stuff. And if you're a $10 patron, you get exclusive monthly content, like in the form of straight to Patreon. That's a great time. And what's the one I believe Melzer will be coming over for Rabid Grannies at the end of the month for that one this June. And you get shout outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F.
Don't look at Vampiro.
Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour.
Don't look at Vampiro.
Alex Z. The Waz.
Why are you looking at Vampiro so much?
Orion.
Stop looking at Vampiro.
Jordan B. The Chaos Witch.
You keep those chaos eyes away from Chaos Vampiro.
My Bickle brother in common law, Joshua Jakis.
Is not allowed to look at Vampiro.
Steve Barnes from Sweet Child of Time.
Sweet Child of Stop looking at Vampiro.
My mother.
All mothers are allowed to look at Vampiro.
Lil Corey's BFF and soon-to-be former roommate Shane.
Don't look at Vampiro.
That fed.
Don't you dare look at Vampiro.
Twitch.tv/core winning. It's Corwin.
And he needs to stop looking at Vampiro.
And finally, from twitch.tv/R2Shelby2, The Rom Complex, and Formulaic, a podcast in script writing, it's R2Shelby2.
For the love of everything that is holy, will everyone stop looking at Vampiro?
Oh, I wouldn't mind looking at him in that movie that we'll eventually do someday.
Hell yeah. And I wouldn't mind being Sean.
And I'm James.
This has been Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah.